please like and subscribe. Chapter 26, Urgent Clan Meeting. Make sure to check out my Patreon where you can read up to 16 chapters ahead of the current releases. Link www.patreon.com/Bakorio or simply search for Bakorio. As I was returning to Konoha, Itachi and Shisui were also going back in the path few minutes ahead of me, and they are currently questioning what I told them. I never thought that a kid could be so scary, Shisui joked with the silent Itachi beside him to lighten the mood as they ran through the plains. Indeed, he hid his abilities very well, and it's weird how he knows a lot of secrets, replied Itachi as he looked directly at Shisui. Shisui sighed. I know what you mean, but I can't tell you right now. Honestly, it's better if you never have to find out. And you are right, if all what he said is true, it seems like we need to rethink our actions. We have been far too naive and trusting in the Hokage. Itachi sadly replied, yes, if everyone works for their benefits and doesn't apply punishment on the people close to them when they do wrong, this village will be ruined even without the conflict with our clan. I wonder if what he said about planning something to bring peace with Fugaku-san and solve the situation in the village is true or not, Shisui said to lift Itachi's mood, and it worked because the haze that was covering Itachi's heart faded a little. I am looking forward to find out. I hope it's true, but either way, it won't change the question that's troubling me. What will we do if the conflict is inevitable? Will we side with the clan or the village? Itachi asked, hoping he will get an answer from his closest friend. Shisui smiled in a reassuring manner and said, if our dream of keeping peace in the village is impossible, we just have to make sure we bring it back when it's lost. After all, together, I believe we can do anything. Itachi kept repeating those words in his mind. If we lose it, just bring it back, and the haze in his heart was completely dispelled and he smiled brightly at Shisui. Thanks. And their journey continued unknown of the undercurrents causing many changes in the village. Back at Konoha, I arrived in front of the Uchiha clan entrance and I sensed that the surveillance increased all around, making me frown a little. Originally, under the accusations that the Uchiha clan caused the Nine Tails incident, Danzo ordered for all the Uchiha to be grouped at the outskirts of the village to make it easy to keep them under watch, but they only spied on the main entrance of the clan. Now, however, I can feel that the range of their spying increased a lot. As I entered, I can see that most of the faces of the Uchiha ninja and even some civilians weren't looking that well, probably because of what I just noticed, so I went directly to Fugaku's house to ask for the reason while thinking the story is changing. But I didn't find him there. Itachi wasn't here either, probably reporting his failed mission, and even Sasuke wasn't here, so I asked Makoto, the only person available, which I noticed was worried about something concerning me and seemed like she wants to tell me but hesitated. Makoto-san, where's Fugaku-san and Sasuke? Makoto heaved a sigh of relief when I gave her something to talk about, so she smiled and said, it's 3:50 p.m. right now and there's an urgent clan meeting that will happen at 4 at the Naka Shrine, and Fugaku took Sasuke there with him. Oh, is the situation this bad? I wish I didn't dispel the clone that was with Sasuke and Naruto, I thought. As for Makoto, she seemed to hesitate a little, but she said in the end, Fugaku wanted to take you to the meeting too, but when he didn't find you he went ahead with Sasuke alone. I see, thank you for telling me. Then I will be going there to see what's going on, and I stopped and looked at her with a smile. Don't worry, everything will be fine. Makoto was dazed a little, looking at the kid that was trying to comfort her. She felt warm inside her heart, so she squeezed his cheeks and said with a smile, make sure to come have dinner with us later. Sure, I said as I ran away, making her laugh and her heavy heart to lighten a little. As I left the house my expression froze and I walked directly in the direction of the shrine, which won't take long. As I arrived there, no one obstructed me and they seemed to be looking at me with complicated looks in their eyes. Usually, only genin and above attend clan meetings. There's no exception, I know of that. This applied to Itachi. Even with all his talent, he was only allowed, forced by Fugaku, to attend after he became a genin, so for Sasuke to be brought here means it's something related to him. Was it because of me or Naruto? I thought quickly as I entered the Naka Shrine. The moment I was inside the shrine's main hall, everyone looked at me, including Fugaku and the two people beside him whom I believe are his assistants and high-ranking members of the Uchiha police force. On the left was Yoshiro Uchiha. He was a man with ash-gray hair and squinted eyes, while on the right was seated Inabi Uchiha. He has shoulder-length black hair and dark eyes. I didn't care about these gazes and saw that Sasuke was sitting on the front row, so I directly went and sat beside him, and my frozen face finally melted a little when I saw Sasuke's happy look. "You are finally here," Sasuke said before he got a stern look from Fugaku to shut up. I patted the now sad Sasuke and signaled to him that we will talk later before I turned back to Fugaku, and my face froze again as I simply said, "What happened?" "Kid, who do you think you are talking to?" Yoshiro said, trying to suck up to Fugaku, but it only caused my eyes to turn a shade colder. "Talk to me like this again and you will lose your head," I said as killing intent started oozing out of my body and my eyes quickly turned into 3 Tomo Sharingan. Of course I wasn't angry, but it's better to establish your position from the start with people like this, or they will keep bullying you the next time they see you, and this guy really deserved to die. Everyone was surprised at my Sharingan but didn't think too much of it, since there's another case of someone else awakening it at the age of 5. She was Azumi Uchiha Itachi's girlfriend, but they were shocked at the amount of killing intent I was releasing. As Yoshiro tried to retort, "What did you dash?" but Fugaku quickly cut him off. "Enough, Yoshiro, you too, Bakorio." I gave that man one last look before my eyes turned back to normal, and I asked Fugaku again a very simple question: "What happened?" I noticed someone in the crowd looking at me curiously, but I didn't look at him. "Shursui is here, huh?" I thought. "I will explain once Itachi comes. I already notified someone to invite him here and he should be done with reporting his mission," Fugaku said as he looked at me weirdly when he said the last part. "Oh, they told you, that's good," I thought as I gestured for him secretly that I got the message, and just at this moment Itachi entered with the person sent to invite him here. Chapter 27, Fed Up with Unfairness. The moment Itachi entered, he quickly noticed me sitting beside Sasuke at the front row and also noticed the nasty look Yoshiro was giving me, causing a frown to appear on his face, but he didn't say anything and simply took a seat at the back. Seeing that everyone was here, Fugaku started speaking with his always stoic face distorted in anger. "I am sure a lot of people are wondering why the village increased the surveillance around our compound." He paused for a moment, looking that everyone was at full attention with most having faces filled with anger before he continued, "As you all know, I recently proposed to the village elders to allow us to accept other clans into the Uchiha police force. This would be beneficial to those clans since this is a prestigious work and we can mend our relation with the village by getting in close terms with other clans, but those rotten elders directly refused and said that they can't allow such a thing and made the excuse that it would dishonor the second Hokage because he bestowed the task of protecting the civilians specifically to us." Everyone looked at this in disbelief, since the village isn't willing to trust them one bit, not even give them a chance to prove their innocence, and this hit especially hard at Shursui and Itachi's hearts because just when they got back they heard about Fugaku's plan to try to mend this broken relationship one last time, yet the village was adamant on rejecting him. Earlier, before I got back, Itachi and Shursui directly went to search for Fugaku and noticed the increased surveillance along the way, causing them to frown, but they ignored it for now. "Father, I heard that you are trying to make peace with the village, is that true?" Itachi asked, excited. Fugaku looked at him in surprise before he asked him doubtfully, "Who told you this?" Itachi went silent, feeling that it was a lie, but Shursui didn't lose hope quickly and said, "We met Bakorio during Itachi's mission and he told us about it. He also ruined Itachi's mission by saving the traitor for some reason." Fugaku just nodded at the first half of what Shursui said but looked surprised at what he said in the end. "So Bakorio told you, huh?" "Yes, it's true. He suggested that we accept other clans inside our police force and raise our reputation in the village even more through some businesses he created, but..." Fugaku's face turned full of anger with bloodlust oozing out of his body, "But those elders, including Hiruzen, used every reason they could find and rejected my offer. They even went as far as making a big deal of your brother's friendship with the Jinchuriki and accused us again of attempting to betray the village." Both Itachi and Shursui became angry at this, since they knew that the last chance for the situation to be solved peacefully was crushed by the village before they heard Fugaku continue saying, "They already started taking actions against us by increasing the surveillance around the clan and ordering for the death of any member of our clan that gets close to the Jinchuriki." Fugaku quickly calmed down and said to Itachi seriously, "Itachi, I need you to keep an eye on the village. Go report your mission for now and don't worry about Bakorio, he can be trusted." Itachi said yes, before he turned to leave and heard his friend saying, "I have something to talk to you about, Fugaku-san." Fugaku nodded at him and they had a private conversation which shocked him. Back at the shrine, Fugaku continued with even more anger, "Never mind this, some of you might not know this, but Bakorio and Sasuke here both got close to Naruto Uzumaki, the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki. But just because they became friends with him, the elders didn't like it and now they accused us of possibly trying to manipulate the Jinchuriki, which is in no way true, but they used it as a reason to attack Bakorio's business, and now they forcefully closed his shop, and even the other shops that were about to open are denied permission, and they gave an order that any Uchiha that gets close to the Jinchuriki will be executed. As everyone in the room listened to what Fugaku said, they couldn't help but look at him in disbelief at the absurdity of the elders' views of their clan, which turned to anger at this blatant disrespect, which turned to rage at the treatment they are receiving, which turned to wrath when hearing that even their kids can't escape this cursed life. Everyone in the crowd that unlocked the Sharingan found them activating on their own and their vision turning red, including Itachi, since now his precious little brother was one of the people mistreated, and a huge commotion broke out. Fugaku looked at everyone's expression. Most people were wrathful and some were even releasing their killing intent wildly. When he saw Itachi's face, he felt glad that his son can finally see the terrible reality of their clan. As the saying goes, only the one burned by the flame will know how painful it is. Fugaku continued observing the crowd before his eyes ended at the kid sitting beside his son Sasuke. Throughout his speech, he kept observing him and he gave him even more attention after he heard about his weirdness from Itachi and Shisui. True to his expectations, the kid that seemed easily provoked by his subordinate Yashiro didn't show any reaction even though he was greatly implicated, not even activating the Sharingan he showed to possess. Just what are you thinking? Fugaku thought before he gestured for the crowd to be quiet and continued. Itachi, did the Hokage tell you anything when you met him? Itachi calmed down and stood up from his seat. No, but Danzo ordered me to keep an eye on the clan in case you try to do something. They especially asked me to keep an eye on Bakorio, saying he's the cause of all of this. Different from how Itachi used to be in the original, getting angry at his clan's distrust towards the village. This time he truly followed Fugaku's orders to work as a double agent for the clan and reported everything the village elders said to him when he went to report his failed mission. Sigh, in the end I am no different than Mukai. Itachi thought and couldn't help but remember the talented man that only wanted to save his kid. Meanwhile, many people in the crowd who already knew about me getting close to Naruto started whispering with the people that just heard about it. Do you think Fugaku-sama ordered him to approach the Jinchuriki? Uchiha 1 whispered to Uchiha 2 beside him. I don't think so, after all he's been trying to fix the relationship with the village, not ruin it, Uchiha 2 answered. Everyone in the clan knows we can't approach the Jinchuriki carelessly or it will increase the suspicions around us, Uchiha 3 spoke from behind them. TCH, just because of one kid our situation worsened, he should be punished, Uchiha 4 spoke with an angry face. Slowly the whispers turned into conversation and these conversations turned into complaints which I could hear very clearly without relying on my superior senses. Enough, if it was a kid from another clan that approached the Jinchuriki, nothing like this would have happened. They keep humiliating our Uchiha clan and they won't even give us a chance to prove we are innocent. Today the Uchiha won't bow their heads to their tyranny anymore, Fugaku said with some anger before he yelled, who's with me? Everyone cheered as a sea of red eyes lit up the dim shrine, with only Shisui and Itachi having sad faces. Chapter 28, Dealing with a Coward. Good, replied Fugaku, calming everyone down. Today we will start preparing for a coup d'etat. Anyone disagrees? No. A united yell echoed before 2 voices said at the same time, yes, Fugaku-san/father. They belonged to Itachi and Shisui, causing everyone to look at them in anger. Shisui quickly stepped beside Itachi and the latter quickly said, father, please reconsider. If we start a revolution, many innocent lives will be lost, and Shisui nodded in agreement, showing his support. But Fugaku calmly shook his head. I am not planning to harm the civilians, but the situation is simply beyond solving at this moment. Either we fight or they will come asking for our lives next. Itachi tried to say, but Fugaku cut him off. Enough, Itachi, just do your job and relay any information you hear from the elders, causing Itachi to clench his fists and nod reluctantly. Sasuke looked at his father and brother arguing and felt scared at how the situation escalated. Not knowing what to do, he looked at me. I patted his head and said, don't worry, before I locked eyes with Fugaku and said, Fugaku-san, I wouldn't mind it if this was 100% your idea, but unfortunately, a little bird kept telling me that someone is pushing you a lot in this direction because he's afraid to bear the responsibility for it himself. Fugaku was perplexed, but I quickly turned to the man that likes to scream a lot. Yashiro, care to explain why you keep suggesting a coup d'etat every time and never going for a bloodless solution? The man in question looked at me in shock, because this is something only his Captain Fugaku and the other high-ranking officials knows. Let's see how close you are with your masked friend, I thought as I looked coldly at Yushiro. Yushiro. Yushiro became shocked when he saw the huge responsibility of the clan rebelling being tied to him, which was true since he always tries to manipulate Fugaku to initiate a rebellion. Since Fugaku was present, he can't lie, so he quickly said, full of courage and pride, my heart is burning from all the suffering our clan is going through, that's why I rather die than live in humiliation like this, so I suggested we rebel. Many people in the crowd nodded at his words because they felt the same thing, but what they didn't know is Yushiro is probably the biggest coward in the Uchiha clan and maybe the entirety of Konoha. This was such a coward to the point that when Itachi in the original story started the Uchiha massacre, he killed Yushiro's wife and kids in front of him, yet Yushiro only fled to save his life and left them behind. And when Itachi caught up to him, he revealed that his masked friend will get revenge for him, but was disappointed when Itachi told him that his masked friend was helping him in the massacre. Indeed, that masked man was Obito Uchiha. He manipulated Yushiro, which in turn manipulated Fugaku and the rest of the clan to start the coup d'etat. When Yushiro understood that he was betrayed, he started begging Itachi to leave him alive, promising that he will end the rebellion, but he only got his head severed by Itachi as an answer, causing to meet his end. Now this coward is speaking with a face full of pride and courage, almost making puke at the level of hypocrisy. So I quickly said, I see, how noble of you, how about you explain to us then about the masked man that promised you with his help and gave you the intel you used to entice Fugaku to make this decision. This time Yushiro wasn't shocked but horrified instead when he heard the kid revealing his involvement with the masked man. How does he know about my relation with the masked man? I am sure we left no traces of our meetings with that man's weird teleporting ability, Yushiro thought as his fear increased when he saw everyone looking at him, especially Itachi. Itachi, getting used to Bakorio's weird information, didn't like the mention of a masked man, so he asked Bakorio, what do you mean by a masked man? I pretended to be surprised at his question and said, oh, I forgot you met him before, but your guess is correct, it's the same man that caused you to awaken your Sharingans. Itachi, hearing this, started looking at Yushiro like a hawk stalking its prey. The nervous Yushiro quickly regained his cool, but his weird reaction didn't go unnoticed by many people, including Fugaku, Shisui, Inabi, and Tekka. Tekka had shoulder-length, dull black hair and dark eyes and also had a dot in the center of his forehead, and he was considered the strongest Uchiha after Fugaku, considering Shisui doesn't use his Mangekyo Sharingan. As Yushiro calmed down, he said with anger, I don't know what you are talking about. Oh really? I couldn't help but smile before I called out, someone, Shisui. Yes? Shisui replied while looking at me curiously. Go with Yushiro and Fugaku-san and confirm if what I said is true or not, please, it's important, I said. Okay, seeing that my goal is stop the coup d'etat, Shisui gladly agreed and didn't doubt that I understood what his secret is anymore. Fugaku also didn't question this decision after he saw Yasuo's reaction and understanding what Shisui's ability is after they had their conversation earlier, so he ordered with a cold look, Yushiro, Shisui, follow me to the adjacent room. No one liked to be manipulated, so Fugaku was really angry and gave Yushiro a look that he wasn't accepting no as an answer, and so they quickly entered a room on their own where Shisui's Kotoama Tsukumi will do its magic. Meanwhile the rest of the crowd was agitated at this sequence of events, finding the situation weird, but Tekka stepped up and said, I am sure the captain knows what he's doing, trust him, while giving me a weird look, and they calmed down because they respected him. I felt an intense gaze on my back and I found that it was Itachi giving me grateful look for helping solve this mess, and I nodded at him with a smile. While thinking, how should I solve this mess? Just a few minutes after, Fugaku and Shisui returned with dark looks on their faces and an unconscious Yushiro, probably still under the effect of Kotoama Tsukumi. Fugaku quickly returned to his position and bowed to everyone, shocking them, everyone, I am sorry, as your leader, I allowed someone with ulterior motives manipulate me. But they quickly tried to deny it and said that he was an amazing leader and doesn't need to apologize since he always thinks about what's best for the clan. Only then did Fugaku rise from his bow and look straight at me. Bakorio, thank you for finding out about Yushiro involvement with this masked man, but even he didn't know much about him and his motive. If you know anything about it, please explain it to us, Fugaku said. That's a very dangerous man, I said to him. After all, he single-handedly caused the Nine Tails incident and the death of the fourth Hokage and his wife. Everyone was shocked at this information before I continued with a heartless smile, sending shivers down everyone's spine. Do you think he cares about helping our clan? Chapter 29, Meetings and Disappointment. Looking at everyone's shocked faces, I couldn't help but shake my head at how emotional the Uchiha are, even though they hide it behind a cold facade most of the time. Impossible, are you saying that the incident 5 years ago was man-made and the one behind it tried to manipulate Yashiro? Fugaku said in both shock and anger, a terrible anger that started building inside his chest the moment the council rejected his good intentions. Then his anger increased even more once he knew how Yashiro was trying to manipulate him, not knowing that he himself was merely a puppet. This is the truth, I don't know much about this masked man, but I know that we shouldn't involve ourselves with him too much, I said, before I continued. Fugaku-san, I know you are angry, but even if we get our hands on the 9 tails it still won't be enough to deal with village and we will only sacrifice many people pointlessly. Fugaku sighed and said, I know this, but we have no other choice. We can relocate outside the village, I said, causing Fugaku to shake his head along with everyone else. If we leave the village, we will become the target of all the other villages, the same way the Uzumaki clan was targeted, and even Konoha might target us and won't just sit on the sidelines the way they did to the Uzumaki clan, not to mention we originated from this shrine, we can't leave our home just like that. I thought for a little before I said I have a plan. Inside the Hokage Tower, the various clan heads were having an urgent meeting issued by Fugaku Uchiha. They were sitting in a long table at the head of which was sitting the third Hokage, and close to him were the old fossils Danzo, Hamura Mitokado, and Koharu Udatane, along with the rest of the heads of the different clans. Everyone was currently looking at the kid standing behind Fugaku with a friendly smile on his face, nodding at people from time to time when he catch them looking at him. Of course that kid was me, and as everyone sat down we heard Danzo say with his usual cold voice and darkness in his eyes, "What's the meaning of this meeting, Fugaku?" Fugaku looked at him coldly with no more pretenses, because he was really ready to kill him right here right now, but a small hand holding his shirt calmed him down. His time will come very soon, thought Fugaku while looking at Danzo. Indeed, he was really angry when Bakorio told him that under all those bandages on Danzo's hand and I were Sharingans from his clan. But currently he only has 2 in his hand because the Uchiha massacre didn't happen yet, but he's pushing for it real hard. Didn't you just accuse my clan of trying to manipulate the Jinchuriki using Bakorio here behind me? Well, I came to prove our innocence once and for all, since I can, Fugaku said coldly while looking at the Hokage and the 3 council members beside him. Humph, Danzo snorted and continued, we don't need proof, we can already see the hatred in your eyes towards the village. Many people frowned at how Danzo isn't even trying to give Fugaku a chance, but this time Fugaku wasn't going to step down even if war starts, and they were ready for that possibility too. Hiruzen, are you going to listen to what the Uchiha clan has to say, or you will just keep accusing us however you see fit and we can't even feel anger for it? Show some respect, Fugaku. The only woman from the council, Koharu, snarled at Fugaku for calling the Hokage by his name directly. Shut your mouth, said Fugaku as his killing intent erupted at her, causing her to shake on fear. This is wicked, Fugaku, everyone thought, in awe of his aura as many Umbu surrounded us. Enough, Danzo, Koharu. You too, Fugaku, calm down, I understand your frustrations. If the Uchiha really have proof like you said, we will gladly hear it. As Fugaku retracted his killing intent and the Umbu retreated, leaving only Danzo and Koharu glaring at him. It's simple, bring Naruto here, Fugaku said. Humph, you think we will allow you near the Jinchuriki? Said Danzo. I didn't talk to you, I am talking to Hiruzen, or did you become the Hokage without everyone here knowing? Fugaku retorted. Danzo was angry because Fugaku really hit his soft spot, since because he couldn't become the Hokage, he always tried to act as one. But Hiruzen raised his hand and cut him off, causing his anger to raise, but it wasn't apparent on his face, but his eyes were different as the darkness inside of them became deeper. Will you really be able to prove your innocence if we bring Naruto here? Said Hiruzen seriously. Yes, said Fugaku, and Hiruzen quickly ordered Kakashi to bring Naruto over. Fugaku crossed his hands and closed his eyes and waited for the scene that's about to happen, which he still feel doubtful about, but still decided to trust the mysterious kid. Very quickly Naruto was brought in and we felt the guard around us increased, and Danzo said mockingly, prove your innocence now. This time Fugaku didn't speak, but I did. Yo, Naruto, how have you been? When Naruto noticed me in the room, he quickly tried to come towards me, but an Umbu member held him back. No matter how much he struggled, he wasn't released, so I said with a confident smile, Naruto, calm down, we will talk later. Naruto nodded, believing what I said, but the people in the room thought otherwise, but I didn't care. I finally looked at the council members. This time, with only coldness in my face different with my previous friendly smile, and said, Hokage, you asked us for proof of our innocence while you didn't provide any behind your accusations. You said I tried to manipulate Naruto. Go enter his seal space, you will understand a lot. You aren't allowed to leak this information in front of the Jinchuriki. Danzo yelled, but I didn't even glance at him and only looked at Hiruzen. What cold eyes Hiruzen thought before he heard, quickly check it, you will get your answers. Fine, said Hiruzen as he got close to Naruto and poured some chakra into the seal, and when he did he was shocked at the scene in front of him and felt terrible guilt. He saw a very familiar couple looking at him with disappointed looks clearly visible even with the dim lights in this seal space. The woman had bright red long hair and violet eyes while the man has spiky blonde hair and ocean blue eyes. How's this possible? Why are they here? Hiruzen thought in a daze, but a voice quickly broke him out of it. It was the melancholic voice of his successor, the man that sacrificed himself and his family for the village and the same man he betrayed the trust of and didn't follow his last wish uttered with his dying breath. Minato. Hiruzen said, feeling an unknown fear and guilt, and Minato responded, it's been a while, Hiruzen, I never thought we would meet again like this. Chapter 30, Revealing the Truth. This would have been a very happy reunion if Hiruzen didn't break his promise, and from the disappointed look on Minato's and Kushina's faces, he understood that they have a good idea of the current situation. It's been a while indeed, Minato, Kushina said. Hiruzen with his BS regretful sigh and continued. How are you still alive like this, and why didn't you contact me? What? You shameless old man, you rather want us dead? And you even want us to contact you after the way you and the village treated Naruto? Replied Kushina with anger plastered on her face while Minato kept the same disappointed look. Hiruzen sighed, feeling the guilt in his heart increasing, but he suppressed it and said, I understand your frustrations with me, but first I need to know the situation. Kushina was about to yell again, but Minato held her back and said, I sealed a small portion of chakra from Kushina and the inside of Naruto to help deal with Kurama in the future and see how Naruto grew up, even if it's only for a few moments. Yet, Bakorio-kun helped us restore our chakra and even souls, and now we can accompany Naruto all the time, so the accusations against the Uchiha are pointless. You should be thanking him instead, if you still consider me the fourth Hokage. Hiruzen was shocked and then happy at having the fourth back, because even if he can't help in fights physically, with his ideas he can still be of great help to the village and Kushina too, with her great sealing knowledge. But then he felt disappointed in himself at how the first thing he thought of was using them, and he remembered how he listened to Danzo and the council, causing him to feel shame. After all, the situation was clear. Bakorio gave them two perfect guardians and trainers for the Jinchuriki, and no one can manipulate him with them here. Hiruzen sighed again before he heard Minato continue saying the Uchiha clan wasn't responsible for the incident 5 years ago either, it was a masked man, and seeing how someone was capable of destroying the special barriers we made on the birth site means someone from the higher-ups of the village helped him. Who do you think it was, Hiruzen? Impossible, don't tell me. No, he wouldn't dare H-. He dared. After all, he and his Rutsunbu didn't help when the attack happened. Instead, they went to keep the Uchiha from helping, to make sure I have no way but to sacrifice myself. As for the barrier and the location of the birth site, you should know that they were clearly selected and they are impossible to break easily, so I'm pretty sure he leaked at least the location of the birth site. As for why he would do this, you know his intentions clearly. After all, right after, he sent a team to assassinate you in your diplomatic mission with the village hidden in the sand, Suna. Hiruzen turned pale at his foolishness for letting all these go by unpunished. Leave for now, Bakorio-kun still have more things to tell you, and bear in mind, this is your last chance to correct your mistakes. There's more? Hiruzen was shocked before he turned angry and directly left the seal. Meanwhile, outside the seal, everyone kept looking at Hiruzen's changing face, from happy to sad to regret to disappointment and finally anger, as he opened his eyes and said the Uchiha clan is innocent and they did a huge service to the village this time. Before he started talking about his meeting with Minato and what they talked about, including the incident 5 years ago, shocking everyone. Impossible, this must be a trick, Danzo said in denial. Shut up, Danzo, as of now you are under arrest. The moment Hiruzen finished saying this, a group of Umbu surrounded Danzo. Bakorio-kun, Minato said you have something more to say, please go ahead, Hiruzen said, fearing for what's coming. Indeed I do. I am sure everyone here wonders why Danzo is so adamant on targeting our clan, even though it would have helped him better if he got close to use and gain our support to become Hokage, I said, and everyone nodded since it was weird. The reason is this, I said as I pointed at my eyes now turning red with 3 tomo inside. Everyone was shocked before Shikaku Nara, Konoha's Jonin commander, spoke, but why would he go so far just for your clan's Sharingan? And Danzo started feeling that something bad is going to happen. Good question. The answer is an ability our eyes has that's not that well known even to our clan members. This ability is called Izanagi. It allows the user to distort reality at the price of the eye turning blind and never recovering even if you replace it. So for example, you can sacrifice one eye to escape death from a fatal injury. That's why Danzo is after them, to save his worthless life when in danger. I said while watching the shock in everyone's eyes increasing. But it wasn't surprising because this ability is truly abnormal. As for Danzo, he couldn't hold back and said, absurd, all I did was for the well-being of Konoha and its PO dash. I directly cut his BS. Really, is that why you helped Orochimaru in his human experiments while researching Hashirama's cells using people from the village as guinea pigs? It was like a bomb dropping inside the meeting room as everyone stood up and looked at Danzo with a dangerous look, including Hiruzen, who said, is this true, Danzo? Danzo knew that he was getting cornered, so he said, humph. I am not going to sit here and listen to a toddler lecturing me, as he tried to leave, but Fugaku stepped on his way and said, you won't be leaving today. What's the meaning of this, Fugaku? Are you rebelling against the village? Danzo said in anger, but he was ignored, and I said with a smile, everyone, I have proof of what I said. Danzo, unveil your right eye and hand to everyone. I am sure you can do such a simple thing to prove your innocence, right? I gestured to Hayashi secretly. Indeed, Danzo, please prove your innocence so we can put our hearts to peace, Hayashi said. The people present were surprised at the Hyuga helping the Uchiha, but they thought that it was because they also have eyes people covet. Many people announced their support after this, ending with the angry Hiruzen saying, Danzo, unveil your right eye and hand right now. Throughout all this, Danzo was unresponsive and a weird calm lingered around him, the calm before the storm, because he suddenly said attack. As many root members attacked everyone present while he himself exhaled some air and launched a compressed air blade right at me before he tried to escape. He sent this air blade to distract Fugaku and force him to defend me, but to his surprise Fugaku decided to ignore the attack, rushing towards the kid, and he directly attacked Danzo. As for his compressed air blade, he saw the kid dodge it without even breaking a sweat, and Danzo understood that his situation is really bad.